Coach Spires here. Today we're going to be talking about the best training split for baseball and softball. Okay, so we're going to be spending some time talking about the things you need to do to become a five-tool player. Training split is super important. Okay, so first thing when we're thinking about a training split, we want to consider is what are the demands of our sport, right? So thinking about baseball and softball, things that we do is we do play and practice often. Okay, because again, if we're doing everything we can to be the best baseball or softball player we can be, that means we're in the gym and we're on the diamond. Okay, so that means that we're spending probably 4 to 5 days at least developing skills, so fielding, general practice, hitting as well too, probably even more often, especially if you're hitting a lot. And then you got to think about you're trying to fit this into it as well too, because understanding that as a baseball player we need to be, and softball player we need to be strong, fast, and powerful. Okay. And these will only develop so much, and unless you're a naturally gifted athlete that has these qualities and you have the size and strength, you have to develop these things, and this is the way we do it, okay? And then the last thing we have to consider too when it comes to the demand of our sport is that we play a highly explosive sport, okay? Baseball, softball players hit top speed more often than any other sport. So meaning every time they go to sprint, how often do those sprints are going up to top speed? Okay, if you think of other sports, they're cutting a lot. Okay, so they're not necessarily hitting top speed all the time. Even soccer and football, you would think they would be a little more, but receivers are cutting all the time. The defenders are obviously cutting all the time, and then you think of soccer too. They're playing their areas, and they all flow together, right? There's no necessarily sprint for 30 to 60 yards or sprint for 20 to 40 yards if you're going to first or second. Okay. Next thing we want to think about, so now we understand the demands of our sport. The next thing we want to consider too is the trainable qualities. Okay, so things that we could train outside of the diamond. All right. So first and foremost, like I talked about being highly explosive, we want to always do things to develop our top speed and acceleration. The honest cheat code to developing your program is focusing around these qualities here. Okay, so when we think of the qualities needed as far as throwing, hitting, and then running the bases, you're thinking about an expression of high velocity. Yes, it's power, but it's more of speed strength, meaning that it's more about how fast you're moving than necessarily of the amount of force you're creating, right? The amount of force you create is a reflection of the amount of force that you're applying, okay? So, as I mentioned there, this should be always a heavy focus, all right? Because again, when we're thinking about power, there's force and velocity, and we definitely need to take care of that velocity component, okay? And then strength and power, of course, okay? So if you're a younger athlete, improving strength right away is going to be a big point of return there. And then, of course, if you're doing things for the velocity-based things, you're going to improve that power, okay? Rotational power, so we're thinking things like med ball work, okay? So things that allow us to work on that shoulder-hip separation. And then we're thinking about elastic strength, so things like plyometrics, isometrics, working on our tendon stiffness, also to like elastic strength, so tissue, and developing those, not only just our muscular, but also to our tendon and ligaments, because those play a role in applying power and force. Okay, and then of course doing things for arm care, so making sure that we're strengthening the shoulder, also to taking care of the traps, doing things for that, and then making space for things that allow us to work around the spine. Okay, just so we have better function up top with our trunk and everything, okay? So now that we've gone over everything as far as the demands of the sport and the trainable qualities, we want to talk about the training split, okay? Like I mentioned too, we want our focus to be around developing top speed and acceleration, because again, when it comes to developing power, again, that's force times velocity, but being a baseball softball player, a lot of our expression of power is going to be more on the velocity side. Okay, max velocity throwing, hitting, sprinting, okay? So developing our training split around improving these qualities, because again, we need all this to be fast and explosive. So if we develop around that, we're gonna have a really good high return, okay? So just looking through the day, say if we're doing a 5-day split, okay? We're gonna train 5 days this week. So 5 days of training, 5 days of training. Okay, we'll go through the days. So like say day 1, okay, we're going to do top speed, all right, and then if you do want to get a day in there, we're going to pair that with a lower body day, okay, all right, so start with the main focus, then later that day come back, hit a lower body, okay, so say day 2 here, okay, we're going to go just an upper body day. Okay, So I would say like day 1 we're gonna hit this, day 2 here, okay? Say day 3, you're gonna rest. Still means you practice, do your other skill stuff or whatever it is, okay? You're gonna rest, let everything get better, okay? Day 4, you're gonna hit your acceleration, okay? Okay, and then we're gonna pair this again with another lower body, okay? All right, and then day 5, finish with that upper, okay? All right, and then of course the other days here, you can rest, you do something else, you can do more bodybuilding stuff if you want a little bit of show muscles or whatever, or focus on something different. But this is going to allow you to get in everything you want. And the key here though is understanding too, there's different ways to develop your power, there's different things to develop your rotational power as well, and elastic strength. There's all these things that we can do, okay? So what these focus are as far as, am I doing heavy strength, like absolute strength here, or am I developing more strength speed? So more about like probably anywhere from 30 to 60% of my run rep max, and I'm seeing how fast I can move it. There's different things we can focus on. So over the next few videos that are going to be following this, I'm going to kind of break down what is our approach to developing 5-tool athletes. Okay, so how do we use this, and also 2 various structures as well within our Bomb Squad program to help develop rotational athletes. Now, if you want to see all this played out firsthand, we have a 4-phase program, like I just mentioned, Bomb Squad. It's within our Elite Athlete Project membership, and the link will be right below here within the show description and everything. So go check that out. If not, be on the lookout for the next videos. It will be labeled around developing a 5-tool athlete. So hope to see you then. I'll catch you on the other side.